No, easy pickings.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Are you a mountain biker as well?
Yeah. That's why I'm up here.
Are you running for the board? No.
No.
Are you going to the AGM for
No.
Warka? Are you a member of Warka?
No.
No, he's visiting biker.
Visiting biker. Oh, okay, yeah.
You're looking rather permanent.
Downhill, yeah.
Yeah, I feel permanent when I'm up here. Like
you look permanent.
I love this place.
Yeah, it's great.
I really
John
do.
and our husband bike pretty much every day.
Yeah,
we're up in the bike park quite a bit. John's got about 85 days right now, and
very nice.
You go to the bike park?
Yes, yeah.
That's cool.
I might
go up on Saturday.
Oh,
I
okay.
did bike park this summer too.
Super.
She's 6.
Yeah, I was up last summer for almost 2 months. Got kind of a late start this summer, so I'm just up for a little over a month.
Mm-hmm.
I'll get in about 25 days.
Nice. Yeah,
a few days off for rain.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, we still go out rain or shine. It's pretty crazy. But it's amazing the amount of grip that you get up there. The drainage on the runs is pretty good. You know, there's the odd day where it's like mushroom or mushy soup.
Yeah.
But you can't do much. But that was the opening day was like that. It was a mud fest. We were just covered in mud on the. But John's like, I've got to do the opening day. I must go. It's like Christmas, right? Everybody's all pepped up.
Yeah, I heard it's a party up here.
Oh, it's a real
for
party.
Opening day.
Yeah, it's surprising that he likes mountain biking so much, considering all the injuries he sees come through.
Yeah.
You think that would put him off?
Yeah.
Well, hopefully we have more snow for opening this year. Last year, there was only a couple runs open.
That's right.
So there was just the red and green chairs that were open.
Yeah.
And then staff weren't allowed to go. Like, staff weren't
Wait,
allowed
on
to
the
go.
calendar?
Really?
That's where it's going.
That's where it's
Well,
going.
there wasn't enough runs open, so they wanted to go to the public to go
Yeah, lots of
versus
staff
the
were choking.
employees.
But it totally made sense because it was dangerous. Like,
Totally, just doesn't help for you know, it's like all these people come for like a season, no opening day, and they don't get to go up. You know, I mean, I get there for 15 years, so
That totally works. Sometimes people come in on Zoom. We invite them in. But anyway, it's recording, so welcome to the Coffee House. Kathy and I have been doing this for a while. I started this actually in 2009 when I was running. I built an RV park out in Aldergrove. You would drive by it if you go on Highway 1 out of the valley. It's called Eagle Wind RV. Got a brand new when I built it, it was 6,000 square feet of, ironically, Whistler style building with a huge conference room in it. And I was like stuck there basically for 2 years by myself being a caretaker. So I started just doing conference, like meetings, and would invite people from the local chamber, and we do like little informational things on, you know, having a mortgage and having a business at the same time, and things like how to understand your commercial mortgage better. And talk, and there'd be like 10 or 15, and then we had like 20 of us. And it was a really fun time. My kids were still in school, and yeah, and I left the valley, so it was fun. And then with the ladies meeting that I run in Vancouver, it's just a nice way to have. We've actually had a few people from the ladies meeting come up to Whistler and connect. Kathy's part of our group there, and part of our mastermind group there, and it's just a way to keep the conversation going during the month, which is a nice meeting. Plus, make it co-ed. Guys coming in sometimes. And so just been working through the 21 Laws of Leadership, Business Leadership of John Maxwell. Has anyone read the book?
you know, I had never read it, John Maxwell. I think we talked about it.
But
yeah.
Let's just quickly go and introduce everybody.
I'm Bronwyn.
Who are you? What's your business?
Bronwyn. I'm a travel agent with Customer Travel Management.
And how would we find you online?
Travelwithbron.com.
Here we
go.
Yeah.
Gary, IT consulting. I live down near Reno, Tahoe. Stuff for part of the summer.
Thank you.
Thanks. I'm Kathy with Engel and Boker here in town in Whistler, and my website is lifestylelocator.ca. And I'm working on a blog and some interviews on Anchor FM, and joining Anissa with her consulting and getting more online with our clients before they come to Whistler and look at properties.
Cool. I'm Chantel Jackson. I'm a mobile mortgage advisor in Whistler. with CIBC for the past 14 years, and I like helping people become happy homeowners. I have a Facebook page that I post articles and information on LinkedIn. Yeah.
Sweet. I'm Lisa. My company is the Communication Studio, and we produce the Ladies Meeting, Coffee House, and a couple other things. And we have the Entrepreneur Collective online. It's one of our apps that brings everybody together. We post the worksheets for this. It has classes and master classes and things like that. And other than that, I'm just going to play the thing from the 21 Laws, and it's just Law 5. The Law of Addition was about which was from John Maxwell, and it's just 1 minute. I have to share my mic.
He's out of the States, isn't he, John Maxwell?
Yeah, he's American. Just gonna share my screen. So.
I've never been to Reno. I've been to Utah several times, but I imagine there's some pretty good biking in Reno.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, all around Tahoe.
All around Tahoe?
Yeah.
Awesome. Is there lift access down there too?
Yeah, we got North Star.
North Star?
There's Mountain Bike Park at North Star. Squaw opens. They have some runs, but they're only open once a year for a race.
No.
Just once a year.
Yeah.
Probably a Red Bull race. It's intense.
I took
Law number 5 is the law of addition. Leaders
ago,
add value by serving others. Now, this is one of the 2 new laws in the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership Revised Edition. You see, for 10 years, as I taught the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, I kept saying to myself, something is missing. And after a few years, I realized it was the law of addition. Adding value to others by serving others. You see, as leaders, we either are adding or we're subtracting. Go to any organization, go to any government, any business, any educational institution, and the people that are there will tell you that that organization is either better because the leaders have added value, or it is not as well off because those leaders have subtracted. What's the secret of adding value to others? Serving others, putting them first. And that's what the law of addition is all about.
Yeah, not pretty detailed there. But I think it's pretty basic. It's not, hold on, I just want to stop this.
If you manage a team, you should be using Monday.com. It's a platform.
All right. So just, I think we've all worked for, and maybe part of the reason some of us work for ourselves is because we've worked for organizations that didn't really support who we are, what we did, or didn't help us grow into who we were and where we wanted to go. Whereas we see companies where, like the new norm is, what course do you want to take? Where do you want to go with your life? Because otherwise they can't retain the millennials, right? To stay where they are if they don't support them to grow into the roles that they want. And sometimes, like, we see it on a maximum scale of people coming into Whistler, and they're on a life mission on their 2-year visa of, coming in, and they're going to, if you don't have exactly what they want, they're going to go get a different job with exactly what they want and learn what they want, where they want to go. So, and you see, like, I was listening to where Facebook is going, for example, with, it's called Horizon, and really, like, in 10 years, we can have this virtual coffee group with some goggles and still be able to literally touch the warmth in our cups and feel it, because they've got wristbands that, will tell our brains that there's a coffee cup with Engel and Boker. It'll be all your branding on it. We're sitting in Kathy's office at Engel and Boker, and we'll just be able to virtually create that. So you can be down in Seattle and still show up to the meeting, and we're going to be sitting here with our goggles, but it'll feel like we're still in this room. Spooky. But that happened because somebody was allowed to run away with an idea within an organization and take up resources and take on a leadership role with their idea, right? And that is what I think I see the law of addition is, where it can really be a benefit to a company or to an individual as well. And the companies that aren't doing that are falling away, right? So, like, where have you guys seen that why do you work on your own?
I was an IBMer for a lot of years and just got burnt out. I was on 4 to 6 airplanes a week. Wow. I'd wake up in hotels not knowing what city I was in. and I just got burnt out and went the consulting route, and I work about 50% of my time now and enjoy life. You can't typically do that in a employee organization kind of setting.
But did anyone ask you?
Ask me
If that's what you wanted to be doing? Or was
I didn't even bring up the subject because that's not how IBM typically works. That's not how a lot of organizations work.
And it's funny because we don't hear about IBM that often anymore.
Have they changed though? Have they changed their approach? Because
I'm sure they probably have.
yeah, I think it depends on the demographic that you have employed. Like this is a more recent thing, right? So as the years go on, you have to change your leadership to.
Yeah. No, when I was there, I was there starting early 90s through late 90s, and it was still, you wore a tie to work, and you showed up and sat under fluorescent lights in a cube for 8 hours a day, usually more like 10, 11. So yeah, that just wasn't really what I wanted to do with the rest of my life.
And what was the turning point that you went like,
I'm done.
give me my bike, I'm out of here?
Get a risk it and become a consultant.
Yeah. I just, like I said, just burnt out. I was waking up in the middle of the night convinced that I was hearing my pager going off. Yes, we had pagers back then. But yeah, just burnt out. I had a $600 airphone bill one month because as soon as the plane would take off, I would be back online working problems for customers, and I'd be standing in the front of the airplane on the little airphone for hours on end.
Wow.
But it's funny, I love that you say pager because I've been thinking about pagers all week, actually. It's really funny because guess what? Like these have become the new pagers. They're no different than a pager anymore.
Yeah. They have come in better packaging.
But when we first got them, we used to pick them up all the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the fact that you heard my phone make a sound, that's unusual anymore. I never pick up my phone unless it's my kids or my mom because I think it must be an emergency. Yesterday it was Hannah got her certificate in the mail, that was amazing, right? She's been going to university and got her first certificate for early childhood education, and she was just like, ooh. And it was like, I'll pick my phone up for that. But generally during the day, I don't pick my phone up just like you would. It's become no different than a pager, really. Me picking up when I want to. If somebody texts me, it's like, I don't know who you are, I'll get back to you later. It's no different than a pager. So it's funny how even though we've got more technology, in some ways we're going back to like, it can be on my hip and we'll get back to you later. Pagers you can get back to people whenever you want it. Mm-hmm. So I think we are taking control back. And what about Bronwyn? You work on your own too, not in an office anymore.
Yeah. So I had a job that was like I had flexibility with it, which was really nice. But it was just something I just didn't want to do for the rest of my life. So I'm now working as a travel agent, and I can kind of set my own hours. It depends if you get a call from a client and destination going, my flight's being canceled, or like the tour is not showing up or something, then you're on call, right?
Yeah.
But it's for me, it's more about the work-life balance, right? And just, I worked hard for a lot of years, and I was like, I liked my job, but I don't want to do this forever, and I want to be able to go and hang out with friends, and I want to be able to go and do this and that and everything else. So it's like, okay, well, I need to do something that I can enjoy my life instead of just work all the time.
So do they offer you, because you're still working for a home-based office, like a company with a home base, do they offer you much training back to be able to do what you do at home?
It's all really like I decide what I want to do, and then I just submit it to the company and ask them if they'll pay for some of it, because I still support. I work in a support capacity for the company as well. So, so certain things then I need to have a higher level of skill level up because I'm training.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So pretty informal at my office.
Yeah.
Bankers getting to leave the office, that's still a good thing.
Well, yes and no. I was recruited, so I did have like a Monday to Friday 9 to 5 job when I was younger, and being in Whistler, I was recruited to be a mobile mortgage advisor, and that was 14 years ago. So back then it was like, well, what is that? What does a mortgage advisor even do? Because people would just go to the bank, right? And so I was recruited, and it took me a long time to actually want to be kind of self-employed in that sense, that I do work from my home office and I do go into the branches, so I have flexibility. I do need to answer my phone as often as I possibly can, but now that I've been in my role for a while, I'm really confident at what I do, and if I don't answer my phone, then hopefully that person is okay that I get back to them when I'm able to. That, you know, people have bathroom breaks, they have lunch breaks, like, you know, you can't be expected to literally answer your phone all the time. And if people aren't able to wait for you, then maybe it's not the right client, and that's okay too. That everything doesn't have to be now. Like, what's the urgency of it? So when you talk about the pager type of idea and the phone and how important is it to answer or not, like, you know, I was out with my kid and my dog yesterday, and Kathy actually called, and I saw it, and I thought, you know, I'll just answer the phone, and, you know, hopefully she's okay with me being out for a dog walk with my kid. And I got interrupted a couple times, but I felt that, you know, we kind of know each other, that would be okay, versus maybe a brand new client. I might not do that because I don't have a pen and paper, and they don't know that I'm out and about and not sitting in a cubicle and office with the fluorescent lights and everything. So, yeah, so I do have flexibility. I have like the support of a corporate company, so sometimes I am restricted as to what I can or can't do in a way, but I could be in Hawaii and no one really know the difference somewhat, because I don't have to show people homes, that everything is mobile and technology based. And we've come a long ways too. Before it was like dial up, and you know, there was like we had some little mobile hotspots that we could bring with us, and that was a new concept, right? Or I'd be going around trying to find some free Wi-Fi. And
I think having the Olympics in Whistler has made it easier for home-based people, because I mean, just the quality of connection was upped.
Yeah,
right.
It's good up here.
The connectivity, like, you know that if you're going up the gondola, you're probably going to get.
Oh, for sure. And like throughout, you know, Canada and everywhere, like the technology has come a long way. And when you're talking about the headsets, there's a movie called Ready, Set, One. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but it's that same concept. So if you haven't seen the movie, like even my 6-year-old likes it. It's called Ready, Set, One. It's like a video game type one, but it's the same with the virtual reality of wearing the goggles. So.
Yeah, I was watching Mark Zuckerberg live on Facebook yesterday, and it was just like, even though you know it was going there, but to see that it's all commercialized now, and it's like you can actually buy for $300 American now. You can buy a totally wireless headset that will recognize your fingers, so no wires, and you can move the objects.
I just always wonder about like the frequency waves and how that affects, like, you know, brain cancer.
It's any different than you having your cell phone to your.
Or maybe we're balancing it out with that 100-year, 200-year expected lives, because we're so much healthier now. Maybe we're balancing it out, that we're just gonna
preserve ourselves.
Yes, we're gonna be self-preserving with all our new health measures and matcha and all that stuff, and then fight it. Kathy, thank you for letting us use your office today.
I was sort of harking back to when I worked for BC Hydro, a utility here in BC, and in their properties division in Vancouver back in the 80s. And we all dressed like IBM executives, because that was the business psyche of the day.
Yeah.
And how much that pendulum has swung now.
Yeah, really.
And living and working in Whistler is so great, because most of my clients understand that, you know, I'm working in the morning or out in the afternoon on the ski hill with a client, or, you know, I've got appointments with family, and they do tend to work around that. But when you're in a transaction, it's go time. So that's where technology has really assisted us. For, you know, a lot of our clients are international, so we do use the 3D glasses, and we take them through a tour of the home, and they often are buying now before they even get here.
Nice.
So because sometimes that market, depending on the timing, they'll have to buy before they get here. So, or they try and send a family member up, of course. We always try to like the tactile visit still, but real estate industry has even changed so much. And that was part of my work in the past, was that work-life balance, was using a time blocking sheet to say, okay, if I'm going to do racing sailboats on this day, my clients tended to know that that was sort of a sacrosanct kind of quiet morning with my family on the boat. And then they would call me afterwards. And it tended to work out quite well because they appreciated that they also have family time. So I would try and align my calls with when I knew they were up, because a lot of them are international, and what their family schedules are. So I think business has kind of adopted more of a personal style now. It's kind of an interesting, and certainly as Anissa mentioned up here, a lot of the business have had to change dramatically because of that work-life balance of the employees. And then they're offering some really interesting packages, staff housing and bonuses and training and ski passes and bike passes.
I was listening to somebody literally talk about what job he was going to take, whether he got off at 3 o'clock or 4:30 in the afternoon. As to whether he was going to take that job. Like, it was that important as to, it's like, well, you get a little bit of this in, and I have to go out after this and do that. And it was just like, he was like really thinking through his entire day over the winter. Like even on the radio already this morning, it was just like, so yeah, we hope it snows next week. So we've got, we start building up the base. So people are already thinking about what their life is going to be like skiing, even though we've got months to go before we have a snowpack, and it's just interesting. And like everybody's already like doing the life balance and the math.
Yeah, they're doing the
because the turkey sale comes up too.
I know, we were doing that too. We're like, does he know about you guys? Like, I have no outerwear. I'm like, do you know about the turkey sale?
What's the deal with that? I saw the sign.
Oh yeah.
Is it like a big legit sale?
It's really good. And the whole
lineups
village
around
now
the block.
participates. It's not just a WB thing. It's like the stores all participate. It's usually like week long now. It's not just like a few days. And everyone tries to get their gear, and everyone's selling stuff on Facebook, all the used gear. Like it's like a big.
But that doesn't start for another couple of weeks.
Well, it's already
October
started.
11th.
People are already
really?
selling their ski gear.
Yeah. Well, like I needed snow tires, and my car is stuck in Kamloops, and I'm like, the dealership has had to replace the transmission. So I'm like, see, everyone's selling snow tires for a reason. October 1st is, I need that car back. You can have your big, huge Dodge Ram with summer tires, because after that, I can't leave my road. I live on Highway 99, and it's illegal for me to drive after October 1st on the road with this truck.
Really?
It's really pretty, but guess what? It's now illegal, and I need my car back because I can't afford to buy truck Dodge Ram 1500 tires, right? And so they're putting snow tires on it for when I go pick it up. But it was like, there's the October 1st is go time. It's and you get on Facebook on the sale page, and everyone's dumping their bikes, whereas a month ago you couldn't find a bike to save your life. Right? So
everything's very seasonal here.
Yeah, so you need to buy, and I've learned, like, I buy everything the season before, right? Like, I just got my paddleboard for next season, because it's like, I know that as soon as there's a sunny day, if I don't have my paddleboard next year, I'm going to be like, I've been waiting for this since 2012.
Yeah.
I started the Facebook page 2012. I went back and looked at the date before paddleboards were cool. I was like, but anyway, back to Kathy. With having a new company, because you guys have changed to Engel & Boker, and you've got this international company now, like you've got an office in every country. What are they doing? If you go back to the law of addition, what are they doing to help their people connect? Because you guys, you guys are selling international. Like, the idea of having this broker is that they are international. So what are they doing to help their brokers? And
that was part of the reason for joining Engel & Bokers, is because there's 800 offices around the world in 30 different countries and over 11,000 agents. So what they do is they offer an online academy where you can do training at any time of the day.
Awesome.
And then you have access to all those 11,000 agents around the world. Now, the majority of our clientele would tend to come up from Vancouver, Seattle, and Vancouver Island. But the international clientele is growing because of the safety of Canada, the clean air, the relaxed environment of the resort. So I link up with other agents in communities where I think that the buyers are going to be coming in from. And predominantly it's Vail Resort locations, because they already understand that Whistler Blackcomb offers the Epic Pass, and they can come and enjoy time here. And then when they're not here, they can put it into a rental pool often, or they can just lock it up and go. So, and because of the exchange rate being fairly good right now too, from the United States and globally, Canada's a good stronghold for an investment. It's just mainly helping them understand that through a mortgage advisor that they can buy here in Canada, that the process is fairly straightforward. There's things that have to be done, you know, and so training those realtor advisors in other countries about how easy it is to buy in Canada, understanding the tax laws and things like that as well. It's a great part of my work. I enjoy that education process.
Sounds like a mastermind group.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and certainly finding like-minded agents like myself who have similar clientele that are kind of looking. I'm not going to connect with all 11,000 agents, but certainly the fun ones that are into sports and have clients like mine, because we also send clients their way as well. So that's where the online environment of a company is changing dramatically, where you can go and access resources at any time of the day, you know, and then the training and sort of the symmetry of the company is all pretty much online now. So, you know, if there's all these branding regulations that you can access 24 hours, and they just update their forms and then we access it as well. Engel and Vokers is now moving into more social media marketing as well, which I can borrow to use in my marketing. So it saves me time and money.
Yeah.
You know, that's a real benefit as well. So what's in the end of the day, what is bringing value to the client and to my colleagues? That's kind of what I always look at in business, because then it tends to come back to business karma. Business karma, you know. It's totally true.
You can always share some of the articles that I post on my Facebook
Yes,
page.
exactly.
It's
That's
public, so
yeah.
it's a good realm of everything of economy, lifestyle. It's not just like baking.
Yeah.
So
There's so much online now. There used to be these, you know, everything was in a book and hidden and only certain people had access to it. Now it's an online.
Well, and even for brokers to be able to do, like, it used to be such, because I've taught social media and had people like who are in banking situations like, I can't do anything online. It's going to jeopardize my certificates, and especially for investment brokers, they still can't do a lot of stuff. They're very, you know, I can't do a newsletter and post it online because I can't do that, right? There's still that mental thing of not being able to be online when they're investing other people's money, because there's so many rules, right?
there
And
is
now
still a
that-
lot of restrictions.
Yeah.
So like our back office, like the bank will create the materials that we can.
But that's still
choose to
pretty
use.
new, right?
It is in the last 6 months to a year. I
Wow,
guess,
only
so.
6 months.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing.
Well, because it's just like corporate stuff is always on lockdown a lot.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like the book idea, or
Yeah.
you know, like it's very private, very confidential.
Yeah.
So
And what have they done to help? Like, see, right, that my daughter worked for Scotiabank till she was 21. She's the youngest in BC to win Best of the Best. She had her name on the door at 21 with her being able to do investments and stuff. But they couldn't hold on to her, right? Because she was already like, I'm going to university, I'm gone. What are they doing to hold on to their young? Because there's so many different banking options, and all banks need front end people. What are banks doing to hold on to their young, even just tellers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I see how many people roster through the Royal Bank, right? Because I mean they're just getting changed, right? And you just see there's always a fresh face, and even a Whistler, it's hard to keep them, right? Like what are banks doing to hold on to their employees?
well, I can answer that. Like banks are moving away from the coin. So like the CIBC in Whistler, for instance, it's a boutique branch, so there is no coin. So there is no tellers. So they empower the younger people, I guess, or whatever age group.
Yeah.
When you're asking about like what are they doing, so they're empowering them to be able to have more authority to do all types of banking and investments and mortgages, so they can, you know, excel more with courses, that they're not just a teller, that they're a financial service representative, or they can become a financial advisor, they could become management. Like there is lots of opportunity for movement laterally, like to different cities, depending on where they want to move to, or to grow up.
Say boutique bank is just interesting.
It is, yeah. It's
Well, we're a boutique realty office. You know?
It is though, because everything's online.
Yeah.
Like they just got new ATMs, so like you don't put money into an envelope anymore.
Yeah.
You literally put your money into the machine and
Yeah.
it counts it, right? So like you can take pictures of your check and deposit it. So everything is mobile and technology based. So there isn't the need for that frontline tellers, but more so advancing with additional questions that people from out of town come in and want to buy real estate. So they open up accounts, and it's US accounts, and understanding how that works. And yeah, just working together as a team, that we each have our unique specialties and our strengths So then they can refer me mortgages and they can focus on banking. So it's just working together and empowering each other versus just like, this is your job and that's it.
Right.
So.
And the nice thing is you connect with your other mortgage advisors throughout the province. And
totally, yeah. I have a team. Like I do have a boss still in Vancouver, but I help clients kind of like anywhere in the world in a sense, purchasing anywhere in Canada. But we do meet with them in person and provide that full package of, okay, who's your realtor, who's your lawyer, like how are you going to be a happy homeowner, where are you going to live, like knowing the ins and outs of all the different types of properties. It is a unique area, and if you don't know it, it's hard to tell the underwriter the financial situation of that property. Like, what is a phase one? How does this work? And
what's a phase two?
Yeah.
What's a cooperative? Those are old school property.
Yeah.
There.
It's just what the lending guidelines are.
It's going to come back with retirees. I think you'll start to see cooperative housing projects again, where the zoning is relaxed to allow retirees to live in one big house with their own separate suites and then share common facilities. And because of the cost of living, and they want to downsize, but not dramatically where they lose their independence. And Whistler is kind of an interesting model that way.
Yeah, I've seen more in the news and the media where it's like, 5 or 7 people like buy a place. And, but they also want to have like their own ensuite. So maybe more housing is starting to be built too. There's a podcast that I listen to in Vancouver that they talk about building housing, but meant for aging population too, that they might build the bathroom equipped for wheelchair accessibility, so that instead of moving into a care facility, that you can still live at home and maybe have an additional bedroom, that there could be a caretaker that would facilitate those maybe 5 people that are living together, that they each have their own bedroom with an ensuite bathroom, and then share that common area that they would in a type of care facility, right? But it's just building that housing to start with versus doing a major
and it's so much healthier as you're aging. They've shown that I don't know if the aging in place is so much healthier. But you have to have, like, I've seen my mom move into an apartment building with bingo, and like they all get together, but she has her own space, and she's never been healthier.
Yeah.
Right.
And more engaged
and mentally stronger now too, because she's got people kind of like our influences are important, and who we hang out with that keep us in line. Yeah. Like to keep our thinking fresh, because when my mom and dad lived at home and worked by themselves in the house, all they had was Vanna and the news, right? And so you don't have any outside influences balancing your thinking patterns, right? Challenging you to whether that's the truth or not. Because you'd be like, there's a computer virus, and I heard on the news, and it's like, don't worry about it. It's fine. My computer's fine.
Yeah, it becomes like lonely and boring. Whereas if you have that sense of belonging and interaction, I do feel that face-to-face is still always like traditionally the way that even though the virtual reality is a great way to connect, like there's just something about the energy that humans have when they're together. It's like if you did yoga at home by yourself and watching it on a laptop versus going to a yoga facility and having yoga in the room, it's just that energy, that aura, right?
Well, and they're trying to find that balance too, because there's now a bike that you can get if you want to be in spin class. It'll show you everybody in your class and everybody's heart rate and stuff like that. And you can buy a membership and you can spin.
The Peloton.
That's it, yes.
Yeah.
Isn't it? But it's
different. Yeah.
But the next step will be doing your Peloton with your glasses on. So you're going to look to your left, you're going to look to your right. And I'm sure there'll be smells involved too. I'll go 4D. You know, like,
and then I want the
gym.
smells of the spin class.
But you want it to be comfortable in your face too, like when you're sweating and stuff, like how does that?
So there'll be the sports
breathable
sports version.
Yeah, sports classes.
I forget what it's called. Facebook's created all this. They spent millions on this new technology. But anyway,
it's interesting because in our business, right, it's a lot of like, this is what you're going to see when you go, right? And now a lot of the tourism authorities and the tour providers and stuff are creating that app. Like there's an app where you can put it on your Google thing, right?
Yeah.
And you can swim in the water at the Great Barrier Reef, and you can go hiking along this trail kind of thing, and you kind of see what is going to happen, right? And I'm just like, wow, this is like so cool. But then I'm like, but people might not want to go because they think that they've already been there.
Well, it's just because of what they've done, they've created these great options to go places. They're realizing, I can't remember the name of it, but tourism. I was at a tourism Whistler social media. There's a meeting once a month where we all get together. Everybody in Whistler that does social media can get together. And they were showing a video from one of these small tourist islands where the tourism is damaging the infrastructure and the natural habitat. And so they've created a video of this great big monster guy who's like having to tiptoe around. It's like, please leave our island. And it's the children leading him around saying, please protect our future. If you're going to come visit our island, please don't, you know, the monster had to learn because he didn't have any friends at the end to come when he comes to the island to take care of the island and take care of the natural ecosystem and don't leave your garbage here and stuff. So they have this great big monster showing that tourism have been in the past the monsters who came in and left the trash and destroyed the reef and blah blah blah. But the kids want a future in that location in these little islands and it's like, so how are these tourism infrastructures have created a monster? Yeah. And now they've got to dial it back in and educate the tourists before they come. So these are going to be really important. It's like, you spent all this money to go here, and now you need to follow the rules and be polite and take care of the environment, because we've all realized that it's getting destroyed. And because tourism is on, everybody wants to go somewhere. Everyone's got the bucket list. Yeah. Right?
Yeah, and social media has helped people to see that there's so much out there to travel and explore, but then it becomes overpopulated in certain areas like Joffrey, for example. You know,
I love that's my perfect idea.
I know, right?
Like,
so
I have a solution for the Joffrey Lake log.
Oh, put a log in every lake.
We just need to put a log, or send the Joffrey Lake log on tour, right? So we helicopter it out to the next lake, or we create a replica at 10 lakes in British Columbia, and we just said, it's like, and you have to have a bucket list of the 10 Joffrey Lake logs, but in different locations, like create a thing where it's
spread it out.
Exactly, because now you've got 10 lakes that you need to visit.
On a log tour. It's like a hot tub, not like a hot springs tour, but like a log tour.
Exactly. To me, that is totally the solution, and spread the tourists out. Not have to have that one iconic picture. You have to have all 10 iconic pictures to have the BC collection. I hope this gets out to somebody. Because to me, that's like, it's a perfect solution, because everybody just knows that they want a picture on the Joffrey Lake log.
Yeah.
So what is the deal with this log? I actually read about it in Peak, that little news magazine, and I'm like, they were talking about getting a picture on this log. Is it a floating log?
I refuse to go to it, so I have no idea.
I haven't been in like literally 10, 12 years. Like I went before it was popular. Back in the day when I haven't been, because I feel like it's going to ruin my original experience of how they've made the trail. But it's just basically a log that is on the shore, and it's just out there. And people line up to get their photo taken and make it seem like they're the only
the background is so beautiful. It just has like the mountains.
But when you're on it, they show the picture. It's like you're the one they're experiencing.
And yet
there's literally a lineup of something people behind you, from what I understand.
Really?
There's like a
log
rock
charge money.
in Norway or something, I think it is, where people go and like it's at the top of this valley and see as far as you can go.
Yeah.
And some people line up for, like someone was telling me the other day, for 10 hours to get a picture of that
Oh
log.
my goodness.
And it's like,
Okay, I think and what's going to happen when the log gets worn out?
I'm surprised it's not worn out already.
Yeah.
It's been there for like probably 20 years. So
Somebody's going to fall in.
Well, look what's happening on Everest. I was listening to a guy who was, 10 years ago, when he was on Everest, he would be the only person there. And now he's got to step over dead bodies. Because if you don't keep moving, you are the dead body.
Yeah.
And because there's a lineup to get up to Everest now, which is, he says, it's just dangerous, because now there's people that the company, as if you research it, apparently there's one company that isn't they're not hiring enough Sherpas, they're not bringing enough oxygen, and he brings double and triple everything that he used to bring, because he knows that that's what it takes for survival.
Yeah.
So it's interesting what social media has done.
there's more people now, more people are traveling. And not waiting until they're older to travel. They're just traveling now and hoping that they're going to work forever too. And not like be like, okay, retirement like 55 and then that's it.
We're not the only ones that work and travel at the same time, right?
Yeah.
Well, I always say that I live in Whistler. People are like, why do you live in
Digital
Whistler? I'm like, because everybody comes to me.
Well, it's true. And Gary, case in point, I mean, you were here last year, and was that your first year here?
It was.
Yeah.
I actually thought I was going to be in South America this year, and this place kind of grabbed me.
It does that.
Yeah.
It does that. Yeah.
There's so many things to see and do here, though. Like, and it just like it keeps changing and it's evolving, and yeah.
Yeah, for the past 14 years,
Yeah.
you've seen nothing but growth in the tourism area.
Yeah.
And the visitors from around the world that come here that we see in the bike park and up on the ski hill and
There's
just
more
enjoying.
Americans now.
Well,
More
even just
resident
when you
now.
talk about personal growth, I mean, when I first met you, you were taking a Spanish class. Like, we moved to this town of 10,000. It was 10,000 people when I moved here. It's now 12,000, I think.
Mhm.
And when it comes to personal growth, you can take any class, any course. We have our own. With university has
Yeah, we have the Whistler Learning Center.
learning center.
Mhm.
You can take anything online. That wasn't the case even 5 years ago.
Mhm.
When you move to a small town. And I always, people are like, what's in Whistler? What's the pull? I said, it's all the stuff that I liked about the city and none of the noise that I didn't like about the city, right? So it's like you can move, you have all of the arts, you have all of the education, you have all of the business, all of the opportunity. Everybody loves to come to Whistler. Like, literally, I was doing the coffee house last week and I had sent a text to someone. She's like, oh, I'm in Whistler. And I'm like, come for coffee. Like, what are you doing here? Oh, I was at the chamber, because on Thursday mornings they have the Chamber of Commerce meeting, and she was a broker, so she had come up to build some new connections, and it was like, oh, okay, well, come for coffee, and it was just like people are traveling and just like getting out of their own space, and they can go work wherever they want and learn wherever they want. And company, like, you can come up and we have so many conferences here where companies are doing, just to finish off, and we'll show the recording off, the law of addition is that, like, we've had, I want to say Monster.
Firefox.
Thank you. You got where I was trying to go. Thank you for reading my mind. So many different companies, they bring everybody in from all over the world. We just had a tech company. I had 4 guys come in with rock climbing shoes, and I'm like, oh, where are you guys from? You all have different accents, because it becomes very obvious where people are come from different countries. And they're like, oh, yeah, we're all tech consultants from all over the world. We meet online, and we all decided to come and rock climb here because we've got a conference upstairs, and we all come together once a year. Every single person in the company works in a different country, pretty much, right? And they all come to Whistler and come together to, again, learn. The company's created a way for everybody to keep learning and still feel a sense of deep connection. And Whistler is definitely the spot to do that.
And I think that that's going to be the interesting challenge for countries and provinces of Canada is how do we retain that the Whistler-esque feeling that you've enjoyed coming to, like, except trying to avoid over tourism, over dilapidation of our environment, like trying to keep the balance between relaxation and adventure and connection in a world that constantly wants to get into a more relaxed environment. So you're getting where on a given day here in Whistler we could have 50 to 100,000 people, and then how about when it turns to 100,000 to 200,000 people? Like, Whistler can't take that kind
People
of.
don't believe me when I say we have 50,000 people drop in for the weekend. People are like, I'm like, no, really.
Yeah.
I used to work for transit.
Yeah.
I've seen it.
Yeah.
We have the city transportation budget of Prince George.
Yeah.
I don't know what their population is, but we carry 25% of the tourism income for British Columbia. People just don't believe it because it just seems unreal, and we do it so well. But again, how can we keep doing it?
How can we keep it special especially for our future generations as well, right? We want them to come here and experience the wonderful nature that we've enjoyed, and retain that sort of Whistler community feeling at the same time. It's going to be an interesting, case study for the next.
We're going to shut the recording off, and we'll see everybody on the next coffee house. You can find us online at thecommunicationstudio.ca.